over holistic learning of the learner and the competence. A child may know something, may not be able to explain it in writing, but can say it orally or even explain it visually. So these are different methods based on the kind of learners we are dealing with. There is also assessment through practical work. Can be given a performance to do, then it is rated. Then there can be presentations. They can write journals. These are reflections. A portfolio. This is I would put it like a comprehensive report of continuous assessment, how it's been going on and how the learner has been performing, and all that can be consolidated into one. There can also be a checklist depending on what is being tested or examined or assessed. Can be a project, can be a questionnaire, all that. All those tied together. Now, I want to also mention number 6 here, summative assessment. I have said it's for placement or further studies. There is also professional documents that now teachers are supposed to have, or the facilitators of learning. We said we'll be aligning our programs, so these are things that may become necessary for us to know how to manage them. There's a scheme of work, lesson plans, record of work, the learner's progress records, and the student's portfolio. This student's portfolio, remember I've talked about assessment as learning. So learners also keep their own record or files so that at the end of the final assessment, the portfolio is also becomes part of what is assessed, or part of the evidence of learning as well. So these documents, we may also ask ourselves, are we getting into this as we transit university education to CBC, or what happens? Finally, I thought I also need to mention this. I may not explain all of them in the interest of time, but these are the other new areas that are coming in. Of non-formal learning activities, the use of play, the use of music, part of the learning process. And then there's community service learning. This is where learners are allowed to go apply what they learn within the communities. Remember, we are saying they need to be problem solvers, so they are given an opportunity to go apply their learning in the communities where they live. And this has quite a number of hours. Even when you look at the senior school, community service learning and ICT and physical education are compulsory. So a child will be required to identify an issue in the community and participate, apply what they learn to solve the community issues. I think you saw the other day when grade 4 were doing an assessment, you would see them all over cleaning the marketplaces and the like. That's part of the learning. There are also pertinent and contemporary issues that have been infused in the curriculum. This is why we keep talking about the emerging issues of life skills, issues of drug and substance abuse, lifestyle diseases. All these things have been infused in the curriculum, and they are part of the learning. They are not separated. Then there is value-based education, which I've mentioned. There is ICT integration, and then parental empowerment and engagement. This is very critical now, especially in assessing children. Parents are supposed to be part of the journey. And this, I think, will resolve some of the experiences we've had. Parents not agreeing with what the teachers say or how they evaluate a child and see maybe the parents feel something different and all that. So here now the parents become part of the journey from the word go. Now, out of all these, then we may want to ask, what's the implication of all this to university education and training? And I have 3 questions that you may want to ask and maybe reflect on even as we continue with this workshop. One is, how do we map the desired competencies in the bachelor's programs or the bachelor graduates? We'll be redesigning our program. So how do we map the competencies that are required? Then also, how do we put our curriculum in the context of CBC and also the 21st century skills that we are talking about? Tied to that also is, how do we craft our learning experiences? Now that we are saying it is more of learner-centered, how do we design that so that we can achieve the intended outcomes? How do we plan the activities? How do we assess? These are some of the things that we need to ask ourselves and start thinking about as we transit, as we align our programs. In the interest of this workshop, I have a few things. Some were mentioned by the DVC. One, of course, for us as a university is to find out what is our vision as a university, so that using our vision, then we can see the specialities that we are going to pick. The pathways, you saw there are many, they are different. So what can be our strength in the CBC? Remember our vision, then the niche that we can capture in the CBC pathways that we have. Then, of course, number 2, DVC mentioned this. How do we infuse CBC approaches in the academic programs? That is the methodologies of interaction or learning experiences, assessment, community service learning. How do you bring in all this? Number 3, how do you ensure that also a third of the duration of learning is in the job? The DVC mentioned this very strongly. To improve graduate employability, here for CBC, we are told a third of the learning period, the learner should be at the industry, at the workplace, on the job training. So how do we ensure that this is well covered, other than just separating the learning with a specific time for internship? Then how do we harmonize our curriculum with the TVET programs? The DVC talked about the transitioning of students who have done diplomas to degrees. So how do we harmonize our programs with TVET? This has already been introduced, so they'll be coming over for our degree program soon. So how do we harmonize that? Then also, how do we rationalize and implement the phasing out of 844 system? We have the 4 years that we've been having for university education. Now it's going down to 3 years. So how do we align this, or how do we harmonize our curriculum as well? And then finally, how do we participate in research? As I said earlier, there is still a lot of dialogue, a lot of debates about CBC. Many things have not been made clear. So how can we be part of the story? How can we engage more? Because there are a lot of gray areas that need to be cleared. And at the end of the day, the implications of CBC to the overall setup of the community, we need to see how much we can engage in as a university. Finally, I have this quote. I am one follower of John Dewey. My teaching philosophy is tied to him. And he says, let the learner, his version has always been children learning by doing. And I remember an example that exists around him where he was saying, you children are learning mathematics. And they are going to fetch firewood. Let them fetch, do the counting, addition, subtraction, in the firewood that they go pick. If it is boys and they're doing something, how can we is planning what they do every day? So it's an affair of just telling and being and process that to be able to this level. So that we can be enough
presentation. Does it mean according to the pathways that you see let's allow to Thanks a lot.
Okay. Hardware is applied sciences. I can mention that here. I have it right here. And as STEM, the pure and applied sciences and pure sciences have the subjects that require students who want to go into sciences. So that's where pure sciences, it has mathematics, physics, chemistry, biology. And there are, of course, the compulsory ones, community service, learning, physical education, and ICT. So that's where those who like to move to medicine and health science will be covered. Is that here now?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, that one is covered under the pure sciences.
Okay, do you have any other question?
Those in applied sciences?
My question is to allow people to fill the attendance sheet. We are about 83 in the session, and only half of us have filled out to do so. Thank you.
All right, thanks for that reminder. So once again, thank you so much, Dr. Gidinji, and I like the emphasis on also non-technical skills, which I think is very important. It was interesting to hear about the critical thinking part as well. So members, this conversation is only the beginning. Dr. Gidinji has laid a very good groundwork on what CBC is about, what it entails, and some of the things that we should do to prepare ourselves, especially to bring it to our classroom. And so it's a very timely presentation to have. So we can unmute and give Dr. Gidinji a clap. So thank you so much, Dr. Winnie. And I'd like to ask Dr. Kibara to take over the session. Dean, Education, are you here? So Dr. Kibara, I can see you back, please.
Yes, I'm back and nilikuwa nimetolewa nje na technology. I want to facilitators for this session, all of you, starting with the chaplain, DVC, Dr. Winnie, Chow, and also Dr. Muchiri, who was the rapporteur, but was called for urgent assignment by the DVC. We understand why he has not been able to finish with us. Now, the session has been quite informative. I'm sure we are going to go into details on what has been presented so that we understand the concept better, because we cannot be able to understand everything on the desktop. Otherwise, Madam Winifred, thank you so much for that very comprehensive and thorough preparation. And thank you, Chow, for taking charge and sharing this session. Now, we are going to go for a healthy break. And because our time is far much spent, I would like us to agree. We had prepared an healthy break for 30 minutes, for about 30 minutes. And now we we would want to catch up with the time. Can we shorten the time please, I propose that we go for 15 minutes instead of 30. So that by 11:20 we are back. Yes? Yes? Can we take 15 instead of 30?
Yes, I propose.
Proposed? Agreed, Lyongo has agreed. So we all agree that by 11:15 we are back, so that the next people can be able to take up, because our time is far much spent. We try to catch up with the time. Otherwise, thank you so much, everybody. Let's rejuvenate a bit. We have a and get back. Thank you so much.